All right, this is Terry at Lithos and Lasers, and I believe that you have a bench, either a blank file or a pre-decorated bench. So what we're going to do right now is show you how to assemble it the easiest way. It's also possible that you just downloaded this section right here, this jig, and you'll want to watch this too. So this is your bench assembly. So if you bought something, you got that. This is your jig and your spacer and some glue. Next up, you either have a blank section ready for you to paint or sublimate, or you got some pattern. Finally, you have your 4 bench sides. So each side of the bench has 2 pieces. You want the colored sections to be facing in and out, and the plain brown sections to be facing in to each other. If you have all white, then one side will be white, one side will be brown, and you again are want to put the brown sections together. So your colored or painted or white sides are facing the inside of the bench and the outside to the public. So we're going to go ahead and get started with assembly. It's very simple with my jig. We want to take our glue out, our spacer out. I generally set up my stationary piece here, and I set up the left-hand side of your bench over here, and I'll glue that together real quick. So let's take care of that. I find the easiest way is to put it back into the packaging. We're going to get some of our glue. Doesn't take a lot. You're going to take the lid off, you're going to poke it, and then put the lid back on. Then I just like to do some dots, and I will show you the end result if you cannot see. Does not take a lot, and you do not want a lot because you don't want your pieces to accidentally glue into your jig. This glue is the bottle, the tube is mostly empty. You have to squeeze quite a bit usually before it starts coming out, but then it kind of flows once it does. All right, there we go. This is a gel, so we're just going to put some drop. If you cannot see this on camera, I'm going to give you a peek before I glue anything together of what our end result was. We'll be gluing it one more time before we're all said and done. In fact, I'm probably doing a little bit of overkill on my glue at the moment. You don't need a lot in the middle because we're going to be adding more to this section and this section. You do want to have a good dot down at the bottom by the feet so that they don't pull apart later on. So if we just had a little Pac-Man, he'd come along and eat all these little dots up. That's kind of what we're making here. And once I have it gluing, I'm going to remove it further from the jig to give it less of a chance to get stuck. All right. So we are kind of bedazzled is what we have there. Make sure that you are putting the solid piece in first. This side is going to accept all of our slats. So that's going to face the inside of your bench on both sides. So just pressed it into the packaging, and now I'm going to take the whole thing out of the packaging. You will not be doing this for the second side of your bench, only the first side that you choose to build. So we are done with that for the moment. So pull it out, squeeze all of your corners, make sure that you have good alignment everywhere. Then we're going to get ready to put it into our jig. So we want to make sure that we have a good amount of glue in all of these slats to accept, or into all those holes to accept our slats. So I'm going to put a good dab into each hole. All right. So here is the end result of that. All right. This piece is just going to stand up in our jig. This side, gray or brown out, painted or white in. It's going to go on this side. You're going to take your spacer. We're going to put it right here into the groove where our other side of our bench will eventually go. That's going to hold us up. All right. So now I'm going to take the first part. Your file may or may not have a bird. This one does. It might even have two. What I'm going to do, I'm going to slip him through, bring him over, and press. You'll see that we have a gap. That is perfectly fine. When we are all done, we will suck that gap up. So just about 10-15 seconds, and we can go on to the next slat. Our next slat, we're going to go all the way through, depending on which side that you decided to start with. In our case, we're going to go through from the right and connect it into the hole. It will do that sometimes until the glue sets on that first rung. So I'm going to go ahead and go through again. Okay. We have two pieces now. Just holding it here for a moment to help it grab. Nothing is grabbing this side. This side will always be free. But this side, so you can actually push it over more right now if you want to help it stand there. Sorry about the bump in the camera there. We're going to come in and go into the slot and push. Would you like another angle? Let's go this way. We're going to go through. All right, sorry about that. The phone died. We were just getting ready to put these in from the side for the bottom. So, gonna grab our first one. And just guide it through one side into the other. We are pretty well established now from our back. So this next section goes a lot faster. Just make sure it's going in on the other side. You see I'm having a lot less wobble now. All right, so everybody's through. We'll let it sit there. I would give it maybe 30 seconds or so. While we're waiting for that to set up just a little bit, we can prep this one. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna give it several dots. But we're not using our jig now because we're already up and standing. Don't gotta go crazy. You definitely want to have something up here at the edges that could fall apart. Skipping those middle sections for the moment because we're gonna lay them on a little bit thicker. There's different techniques for that part. So we are going to have slats connecting on both this section and this section. Nothing up here. So this, we want to give it a pretty good amount. And the same here, because that's going to be grabbing our slats. Okay. If you like, don't glue your hand to the board. You can push this in a little bit and add just a little bit of glue right up here on the edge. Don't hang out too long if you do this though, because you don't want to glue it into place and not be able to pull it away. All right. So, remove your spacer. You're not going to fight putting things into the slat holes this time. You're just going to drop down. You're going to get even. You're going to pull those two sides together. All right. So now both sides of my bench are touching each other. Then I'm just going to give it a press here for a moment. And what we're doing right now is we're just gluing the two sides of the bench right hand side together, and we're at the same time securing this side of the slats into this side of the bench. Doesn't take a whole long time. In fact, we can go ahead and come out of the awesome jig. And now we have a completed bench. So I hope that helps you with your assembly. Shouldn't be very difficult for you at all. And I thank you for watching. This is Terry from Lithos and Lasers.